As we review our Sunday school lesson for today, we are continuing in the winter quarter for the months of December, January, and February, entitled Justice, Law, and History. And in this quarter, we're looking at justice as presented in the Old Testament under the law. And we're looking at some of the circumstances that have construed God's people's thoughts on justice. We're now in unit number 2 for the month of January, entitled God, the Source of Justice. And these 5 lessons are looking at God's justice in the lives of his people and the gift of the law. Today we are on lesson number 8 for January 23rd, 2022, entitled Incorruptible Leaders. Our printed passage is Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18 through 20, and chapter 17, verse 8 through 13. As we consider our lesson for today, as we look at the book of Deuteronomy and this setting, this is really what it looks like to be one nation under God. If you ever wondered what a nation would look like with God as its leader, and what a holy nation would look like, the book of Deuteronomy contains for us the commandments of God, or if you will, the constitution or the law of God for his people living in a nation under him. And in our text today, as Moses is beginning to give these commands in his last sermon before he dies, consider the government of God's people at that time. They are one unified people living in one land. And this is the government at that time. God is the king. Moses simply serves as a governor. And each of the 12 tribes have a judge. And God calls the whole nation to holiness. He calls the whole nation to holiness. He tells the nation, don't you pervert justice. I want you to follow after justice. And if you do, you will be blessed by him. So we're called not to pervert justice, but to follow justice. And in return, God says, I will bless you. Now, where do leaders go wrong at today is a question that I ask. And the way leaders go wrong today is when we don't follow justice. How does leaders go wrong today? When leaders get corrupted. And when leaders are corrupted, they surely begin to stray in the wrong direction. And leaders go wrong today when we do not follow God's command. Now, I want to close with just this thought, because as the church, we may not all be living in one unified location as one nation. Now, many of us are scattered abroad, living in different nations, in different locations. So what is the church to do? And even today, the church still, though we may be living in unholy nations with unholy laws, but we still must show the world the law of God, so that the world can see that even when you make laws or do things that are unlawful to God, that there's still a standard that God holds for us. And if we do that by avoiding being corrupted and follow after justice and allow ourselves not to stray away from justice, then we too can be blessed by God.